Hello. People have been asking, like, kind of what are the permanent effects of testosterone and what are the things that are changing or that are going to change. You know, this is something that's more commonly talked about in the trans community, but most people, I'd say, who aren't trans or don't think about trans things, don't really understand how hormones affect the body. And so I want to get into that because I know when I first came out as trans, I didn't even realize that you could like take testosterone or estrogen to like change your body, because you know, it's something nobody really thinks about. Like it just happens. Like you just go through puberty and then it's over. You move on. First, I went through female puberty. Let's get into that. When I was 12, I went through my first puberty, which was female puberty as a female. And here are some things that I noticed. It's not really something you think about too much if you're just a regular person that's going through puberty. And I, at that point, didn't care or realize what was happening. So, I noticed my hips got wider. That was like the biggest thing that I noticed. I kept running into things when I was going through puberty. Like I would try to like slide through a door or something, and my hip would hit the door frame, and I'd be like, why is my body doing this? I'd be like, I don't understand what's going on. Like I would just like be hitting my hips everywhere all the time. That's a very like I feel like that would be a very common experience for other girls. Also, I got my period. That was a thing that I hated a lot. I think most girls do. I grew boobs. Like this pretty basic stuff that happens when you go through puberty. So those are the main things that I noticed as a girl going through puberty. I didn't really pay attention to anything else. I noticed like I grew in height. Like that's just, you know. So let's go to male puberty. So when I went on testosterone, I had like a checklist of things that I wanted, because that's what I kind of learned to do with my body. I was like, okay, here's all the stuff that I want to change and fix, basically. So my voice was the biggest thing. My voice dropped almost immediately on testosterone. I noticed within like the first week, it started to drop and get hoarse and deeper. And after the first month, it was noticeably different. And then from then on, it just kept dropping over the course of the next year. It got to its deepest point, I believe, within the first year. And then it's pretty much sounded the same since the first year. It hasn't really dropped that much more or like changed that much more. So that's a permanent change. That doesn't change from going off testosterone. Once the voice drops, it's a physical change. Like it's not like a superficial thing you can just like malleate. Is that a word? I don't know. It's not like a superficial thing that you can just fluctuate whenever you want. So here is my Adam's apple. This is another change from testosterone, as you can see. This is the larynx. It moves when I talk because everyone has one, and every larynx, this is how you get your voice to come out of your throat. This is how you make sound, basically. I'm not gonna pretend to know all of like the science behind it. I learned about it a little bit in like voice training, but I'm not a voice coach or like a vocal trainer or whatever, like a scientist. I don't know. So everybody has one of these, including women. The larynx is the voice box. When a male goes through puberty or when a female goes on testosterone, the larynx enlarges and it drops. It goes down in the anatomy of the throat. Testosterone also thickens the cartilage in your throat and changes the vocal folds which is a lot of terminology most people don't really know, but basically makes it so that your voice, I don't know how to explain it, but it makes it deeper. It makes it vibrate in a different way, like the way that the vocal cords vibrate together make the sound of the pitch like higher, lower. And then the larynx going deeper into the throat and enlarging also makes the voice deeper. So that comes from testosterone. That's not just because someone is born male and goes through male puberty. It's because of testosterone. So the thing that most people don't understand is how much hormones change a person. Like, me having a high-pitched voice is not because I was born female or because I went through female puberty. It's solely because I was never introduced to testosterone. And once I was introduced to testosterone, the voice knows that it's supposed to drop. It's like the testosterone tells it to do that. It's all because of the male hormone, testosterone. The other thing that testosterone does that's permanent is facial hair. So I shaved yesterday. I have to shave every 3 days-ish, 3 to 4 days. You can see I have some stubble. You can hear it. It's on my neck also. It's all around this area. Testosterone stimulates the hair follicles of the face. The hair follicles exist. Women have like little fuzzies. We don't get beards, usually. Some do, naturally, but the hair follicles exist, and when testosterone is introduced, they are stimulated to grow thicker hair, to grow darker and more like stubbly. I don't know how to explain it, but it's normally, the hair on the face of a woman is normally very fine and soft and barely noticeable. But once testosterone is introduced, it doesn't just change back when you go off. Once the testosterone has been in the system for long enough, in my case 3 years is a very long time, so I grow facial hair, and I'm going to forever unless I get it lasered off with laser hair removal. Because once those hair follicles are told to grow in dark, stubbly hair, they will do so. It's not just like snap your fingers, go back. So that's another permanent change, which I am planning on getting laser hair removal because it's really annoying having to shave so often. So those are the 2 biggest permanent changes from testosterone that will not go back to the way they were before without my intervention. My voice is going to stay this way forever unless I train it to be female sounding. It's never going back to the way it was before. My facial hair is going to be there forever unless I get it lasered off. So it might get thinner, it might get lighter, but it's never going to just go away and disappear on its own. Same thing with my voice. It might get softer, it might get lighter, it might get higher pitched on its own, but it's never going to sound completely female the way that it sounded before testosterone. So those were the 2 biggest things. As far as things that can change going off testosterone, so let's start with those. So the biggest things I wanted were broad shoulders, more muscle mass. That is something that happens with testosterone. It's just the nature of the hormone. It helps you build muscle. It helps you, it does the whole like male fat redistribution thing. So I had no feminine fat like on my legs or on my hips. I was basically like skinny. All of the fat that I would gain would go to my stomach, which is typical of a male. So I didn't have like any fat on my chest or my hips. It was all in my stomach, and then once I lost weight, I was basically just skinny, like everywhere. There was no female curves to me besides the way my bones were shaped. Let's talk about what testosterone doesn't change, because I feel like that's interesting. So what testosterone can't change, won't change, and does not, never will change. So once I had gone through female puberty, my hips widened, I had a female bone structure, narrow shoulders, wide hips, small feet, small hands, female head shape, female facial structure. There's no way to change any of your bones on testosterone. Once you've gone through female puberty, there's no way to change your bone structure. So it's not going to make you taller. It's not going to make you have bony, wide shoulders. It's definitely not going to make your hips narrower. That's just not possible at all. Once they've widened, they're never going to get narrower. The fat will redistribute, but the bones are going to stay there, and it's going to look real weird, because my body looked very weird after being on testosterone for so long. I didn't even realize how it was like disproportioned with my hips. It was very strange. Yeah, so everything about your bone structure is staying the same. It doesn't change the size of your feet or your hands, but one weird thing that happened to me is my feet got really wide. They've actually thinned out again now, going off testosterone, but they were just like really wide for a while, and it was very weird because they didn't get longer. They just got really fat and wide. And I have small feet, so that was really weird. So those are things like that it can't change. It also doesn't make the boobs go away, so you have to get surgery for that. So once you grow boobs, they're there. They're not going away. It does, well, I mean, it doesn't make you grow a penis. I don't know who needs to hear that. I don't have a penis. I never grew one. That kind of sucks for me, because that would have taken away all my problems at the time. Yeah, so it doesn't just, it's not just a snap of the fingers and you're changed into a different sex. Like that's, you know, it looks like that on the outside because you become completely masculine. But it doesn't just make you grow a penis. That's a problem. So, so as for things that change on testosterone, big things. So periods stop. Mine stopped immediately. I never got another one after I went on testosterone. So for 3 years, I didn't have a period. They just stop, and you stop. The reason they stop is because the estrogen stimulates all of the female reproductive system to work, release the egg, and then release the uterine lining and shed the uterine lining. All of that stuff is stimulated by estrogen. So when testosterone is in your system, your body's not doing any of that. You basically go dormant. So your reproductive system is not working. It's not functional. But, however, you can still get pregnant on testosterone. I've seen stories of trans guys who have gotten pregnant on testosterone. So be aware of that. It doesn't just, you're not just out of the woods. So that's a big thing. That's the main thing that I wanted, to be honest with you. Things that go back. Body hair was one thing that I was very, very worried about. I thought I was going to be a hairy beast forever since I went on testosterone. Like, I was like, well, I hated having body hair, to be honest with you. Like, I really wanted it at first, and then once I got to the point where it was growing all over, I was like, I fucking hate it. But now it's just there, and it's permanent, and it's never going back. That's not true. I basically, all of my body hair is now lighter than it used to be, does not grow back the same amount whatsoever. My legs used to be literally covered in like a blanket of hair. I looked like an actual monkey. But now, I'll show you. I haven't shaved in like 3 weeks. This is how hairy I am. This is how much hair I grow. I literally would have never expected that. I've been off for 6 months and my body hair has thinned out so much. Okay, look at this. I have like a little bit of chest hair. It's light, it's like white. It's not dark at all. I used to have, it's just everywhere. It was everywhere. It was so gross. I hated it. And once I shaved, like, I've probably full body shaved 4 times since going off testosterone. That's it. I haven't had to do like once a week, like going over every single inch of my body, like with a razor. Like I don't have to do that. It's going away on its own. And every time I shave, less comes back. I never thought that was going to happen. So, though there are a few things that I have noticed that aren't necessarily just like reverting back. So I just got my eyebrows done, but I will grow so much hair in this little area. It's almost like turns into a unibrow. It annoys me so much, and that's all because of testosterone. And I don't know if that's gonna ever change because it's like a part of like facial hair. And so I just think I'm gonna have like really thick eyebrows forever. Thankfully they're in right now, but it's kind of annoying because I have to get my brows done so often. What else? Armpit hair I feel like is a lot thicker. Oh, it's definitely thinned out a lot though. Yeah, it's definitely thinned out. It's not as bad as it used to be. Honestly, all like my body hair everywhere is like thinned out. It's either gone completely after I shaved it twice, or grows back little enough to where I don't even have to worry about it anymore. So that's like the biggest thing for me, is like, thank God for that. Oh my gosh, I would have been so sad if I just looked like a gorilla forever. So that's a really good news. Things that come back after testosterone. Periods come back. Surprise, surprise. The female body is very resilient. So 2 months after I stopped taking testosterone, I got my period back. They've been lighter than they used to be, and they've been less horrible. But I've heard anecdotal stories of other detrans women who have been like, the first like 6 months of getting your period back is easier than when it like actually starts coming back like full force. And so I'm just kind of waiting for the day when I like hate my periods again, but it's been fine so far. What else? I'm curvy again. So all of my fat redistributed to female patterns. So I have fat up here, I have fat on my face, I have fat on my hips, on my thighs, all over my body. I've gotten back to like a female like shape, I guess. Like the fat has naturally fallen where it normally would on my hips, and that's been nice because my body is like proportional now to the way that my bones are shaped. Where before I was always like self-conscious of how much my hips were wide and all of that annoying stuff. But yeah, also my shoulders aren't broad anymore. They're very narrow again. And all of my muscles from testosterone have basically just disappeared on their own. So they're gone. They're not coming back. That's one big thing that a lot of people kind of gloss over, but testosterone is insane. I was buff. Like once I started working out, I worked out for like 3 weeks every day, like consistently. And I had muscles, like guns. And I saw my sister have to work for like over a year to get defined like shoulder muscles and back muscles. And I was like 3 weeks and I've already got biceps and triceps, and it was crazy. Some other things that I didn't mention are when I went on testosterone, this is just like a very weird thing that happened to me, but I started burping when I had never burped before in my life, like ever, like out loud burping like all the time. And I think it's because of the way it changes, like, your throat, or like, I don't even know what happened. It just is, it's different now. But it's still like that. I still burp a lot. It's not just like because of becoming a man or whatever. Like I think it literally physically changed something in the way like my throat works, which sucks. Like it's so weird to know that I like permanently altered myself as a teenager, and I'll never know like how my body would have grown without that alteration. But it's fine. We don't have to talk about that. Other things that to note, like when going off testosterone, I have less appetite, so I'm eating less than I used to. I have less sex drive, which is a very big thing. Testosterone really ramps up the sex drive, and I was like, I haven't felt sexual attraction to anyone in like 2 months, like besides one of my professors who I saw on Instagram the other day. But literally, like, I don't have that like day-to-day life where I'm just like, oh yeah, I'd fuck that person. Like, I don't have that instinct anymore. I didn't have it that much before, but before I at least thought about it sometimes, and now I'm like, gross. It's kind of like grosses me out to think about something like that, because I'm like, I need to like get to know someone, I need to be close with someone, like I need to be emotionally connected to someone to do that. Also, sweat. My sweat smells so much better. It's like sweeter. It's like, it's nice. It's a nice smell. It's not a gross boy smell. It's like a girl smell. So that's nice. I think those are the main things. I don't really have that much else to add. I just want to reiterate, going off testosterone, it doesn't mean my body is just going to snap back to the way that it was before. I have permanently altered my body chemistry. My voice is not changing. My facial hair is not going away. My body hair is probably going to be more darker and more body hair than before I ever went on testosterone. There's probably always going to be some extra body hair left over. I'm probably going to burp forever because of the way my throat changed. And my Adam's apple growing. This is because of the testosterone. This right there. I was not born male. I went through male puberty when I was 16. That's why I have an Adam's apple. It's not because I was born a man. It just grows, like, because of the hormones. And it's really weird, and it's gonna be there forever. That's never going away, that little thing. The way my throat is shaped, that's never changing again. The thing about estrogen is that it doesn't affect a voice that's been affected by testosterone. Me going off testosterone isn't just gonna make me sound like a girl again. I would have to go through voice training to get to the point where I might sound female, but I might never sound like I was born female again. That is a very permanent change. It's just a fact. So that's the deal. And same thing with my facial hair. Once it's there, it's not going away. I have to get it removed. That's it. So please tweet me if you have a question that I didn't answer in this video. Let me know what you'd like to know. I've also answered a lot of people's questions already on my Twitter, so if you scroll through some of my tweets, you might find the answer you're looking for. I do have a lot of tweets, though. Anyways, thank you for watching. Also, shout out to the girl that I met at the market yesterday on Tuesday. Shout out to you, because you're really cool, and you're the first person who I met in real life who told me that you watch my videos. So that was really cool. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.